You're in your doctor's office for your first prenatal appointment, and suddenly there's talk of additional screenings, genetic counseling, and something called advanced maternal age, a term that makes you feel like you've crossed some invisible line. You're excited about this pregnancy, but also aware that at 42, you're navigating territory that your younger friends didn't have to think about. And here's what strikes you most. Nobody prepared you for this. Not the pregnancy books written for 30-year-olds, not the cheerful social media posts, and certainly not the well-meaning people who told you age is just a number. If you haven't already, subscribe now for pregnancy information that actually addresses your reality. If you're feeling a mix of joy and apprehension, you're not alone. Thousands of women are choosing to have babies after 40, yet most pregnancy content completely overlooks the distinct realities you're facing. This silence leaves you wondering what's normal, what's concerning, and why your experience feels so different from the narrative you've been given. Today, we're filling that gap with the honest conversation you deserve. We'll walk through 5 realities of pregnancy after 40 that deserve recognition. Not to scare you, but to validate your experience, prepare you properly, and remind you of the incredible strengths you bring to motherhood that have nothing to do with your age. Let's start with something you're probably feeling right now. The exhaustion of pregnancy after 40 isn't just being tired. It's a full-body experience that operates on a completely different level than what younger women describe. While a 28-year-old might power through first trimester fatigue and still maintain her regular schedule, your body at 40 plus is managing pregnancy hormones alongside natural age-related changes in how your cells produce energy. Here's what's actually happening. Your mitochondria, which are essentially your cells as energy factories, become less efficient as you age. Think of them as engines that don't burn fuel quite as cleanly as they used to. Now add pregnancy on top of that. You're asking these already recalibrated engines to power an enormous biological project. Your body is building another human while working with a system that naturally produces less cellular energy than it did a decade ago. This isn't weakness. This is biology. And it deserves recognition. What does this mean for you practically? That afternoon nap you feel guilty about? It's not indulgent. It's strategic. Your body is telling you exactly what it needs, and listening to that signal is the mature, informed choice that serves both you and your baby. This is where your age becomes an advantage. You're more likely than a younger woman to honor what your body is communicating instead of pushing through with sheer willpower. You've lived enough life to know that rest isn't laziness, it's wisdom. So when you need to adjust your expectations, ask for help without guilt, or decline activities that would drain your limited energy reserves, you're not failing at pregnancy. You're succeeding at listening, and that skill will serve you extraordinarily well in motherhood. Now let's talk about something that might feel overwhelming, the medical monitoring. After 35, and especially after 40, your pregnancy is automatically classified as high risk. That term sounds alarming, doesn't it? But here's what it actually means. It means your pregnancy deserves closer attention. That's all. You'll have more frequent ultrasounds, earlier glucose testing, additional genetic screening options, more detailed monitoring throughout your entire pregnancy. And this isn't because something is wrong with you or your baby. It's because statistically, certain complications occur more frequently with maternal age. Gestational diabetes, preeclampsia, chromosomal variations. These risks are real, but here's the crucial reframe. This monitoring is your advantage. Think about it this way. Early detection allows for proactive management. You'll have more information than most pregnant women, more support, more opportunity to address concerns before they become problems. If gestational diabetes develops, you'll catch it earlier and manage it better. If blood pressure starts creeping up, your medical team will see the trend and intervene. The testing isn't punishment for being older. It's precision care that gives you and your healthcare providers the clearest possible picture of what's happening. You're not being treated as fragile. You're being treated with appropriate evidence-based attention. And this is where your maturity becomes powerful. You can ask detailed questions about why each test is recommended. You can advocate for the care you need. You can make informed decisions instead of just accepting whatever you're told. 25-year-olds often nod and agree. You have the confidence to engage as a partner in your care. Here's something else nobody mentions. pregnancy hormones affect everyone. But after 40, your body's response can be more intense and unpredictable. Why? Because you're experiencing pregnancy hormones against a backdrop of perimenopause. Your baseline hormone levels were already shifting before you conceived. Estrogen fluctuating, progesterone changing, your body adjusting to a new normal. Then pregnancy arrives with its own massive hormonal surge. It's like two weather systems colliding. The result? Some women over 40 experience more severe morning sickness than they did in earlier pregnancies. More pronounced mood swings, stronger physical symptoms, heightened emotional sensitivity that feels overwhelming. This isn't all in your head. It's the reality of two major hormonal events occurring simultaneously in your body, and it's biochemically valid. What matters here is communication. If your morning sickness is severe, tell your healthcare provider. Don't minimize it or assume it's just something to endure. Early intervention can make an enormous difference. If your mood feels more volatile than you expected, that's worth mentioning too. Your emotional experience deserves the same medical respect as your physical symptoms. This is another place where your life experience serves you. You know yourself well enough to recognize when something feels different or more intense than normal. You're not afraid to speak up, and that self-advocacy matters more than you might realize. Let's acknowledge something deeper now, the emotional complexity. At 40 plus, you bring something irreplaceable to pregnancy. Perspective. You've lived enough to understand that life involves risk. That control is often an illusion. That statistics describe populations but not individuals. This awareness is both a gift and a burden. You may find yourself more anxious about outcomes precisely because you understand what could go wrong. You've known people who faced complications. You've read enough to know that challenges exist. You might grieve the ease that younger women seem to have, or feel isolated in spaces dominated by mothers a decade younger. And here's what you need to hear. Your awareness doesn't predict negative outcomes. It prepares you to make informed decisions. Think about what you bring to this experience. You're more likely to advocate for yourself in medical settings, more prepared to ask important questions, more capable of making thoughtful choices under pressure, more financially stable, more established in your career, more certain about what you want from life. These aren't small things. They're enormous advantages. Yes, the anxiety is real, but so is your capability. You're not overthinking. You're bringing earned wisdom to the most important experience of your life. And while younger mothers might approach pregnancy with more carefree optimism, you approach it with something equally valuable. Readiness, maturity, the ability to handle whatever comes. That's not a disadvantage, that's strength. Finally, let's talk about something rarely discussed openly. If you're pregnant after 40, there's a significant chance you didn't conceive immediately. Maybe you tried for months or years. Maybe you used IVF donor eggs, other fertility treatments. Maybe this pregnancy represents a loss you've experienced, hope you've held on to, significant financial investment, emotional resilience that younger mothers might not carry. And yet this part of your story often gets erased from the pregnancy narrative. Everyone wants to celebrate the outcome without acknowledging the journey. Here's the truth. Among women over 40 who become pregnant, many have complex conception stories. This isn't failure. It's a different path to the same beautiful destination. Your pregnancy is no less natural because of how it began, no less valid, no less miraculous. The treatments you may have undergone demonstrate determination and courage. They show how deeply you wanted this. If you feel protective of your conception story, that's completely understandable. If you want to share it to help others feel less alone, that's powerful. Either way, this pregnancy is yours, and you earned it. Every step of the journey that brought you here matters. Every decision you made, every treatment you endured, every moment you held on to hope. That's part of your strength as a mother, not something to hide or minimize. So, where does this leave you? Understanding that pregnancy after 40 comes with real biological differences. Fatigue that's genuinely more intense. Medical monitoring that's more frequent. Hormonal responses that can be more unpredictable. Emotional complexity that reflects your awareness. And often conception journeys that required tremendous perseverance. All of these realities deserve acknowledgement. But here's what deserves equal recognition. You bring maturity that younger women are still developing. Financial stability that reduces stress, life experience that prepares you for challenges, self-knowledge that guides your decisions, and wisdom that will serve you every single day of motherhood. Both truths